All right, today we are digging into one of history's greatest puzzles. We're going back about 5,000 years to a civilization that could seriously rival any in the ancient world. We're talking about a sprawling megacity whose people and their ultimate fate remain one of history's biggest unsolved mysteries. So, think about ancient Egypt. They were busy building these absolutely massive monumental pyramids for their god kings, the pharaohs. But at the exact same time, a totally different kind of society was rising up in what is now modern-day Pakistan. And get this, they weren't building for their rulers. They were building for everyone, creating some of the most sophisticated cities the world had ever seen. And when I say sophisticated, I mean really sophisticated. We're talking about multi-story brick homes, huge public baths, and an underground sewer system that connected to pretty much every single house. This was Mohenjo-Daro, an urban marvel that was just shockingly advanced for its time.
And that is the central question, isn't it? How could a society this organized, this technologically brilliant, just disappear from the pages of history? Today, we're going to piece together the clues left behind in the ruins of the city known, kind of ominously, as the Mound of the Dead. So, how did we even find this lost world? Well, the modern story of Mohenjo-Daro doesn't begin with some grand expedition. Nope. It started with a single, accidental find back in 1922 that would kick off this chain of events and completely rewrite ancient history.
It all started with an Indian archaeologist named R.D. Banerjee. He was actually out hunting when he stumbled upon this strange, blade-like stone. That discovery made him look a little closer at a large mound nearby, and he noticed locals were just taking these ancient-looking bricks from it to build their homes. The pieces just clicked into place. He realized he was standing on top of a massive, buried city, and immediately started to dig.
And here's where the story gets even bigger. Banerjee sent these unique stone seals he found to his superior, Sir John Marshall. And Marshall was just stunned. Why? Because he had seen identical seals before, found years earlier at another site called Harappa, 600 kilometers away. This was the proof. These weren't just isolated ruins. This was a vast, interconnected civilization.
And when we say vast, we really mean it. The Indus Valley civilization was geographically enormous. We're talking about an area more than twice the size of ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. At its absolute peak, it's estimated that this sprawling network of cities and towns was home to as many as 5 million people. Just think about that, a staggering population for the ancient world.
But, this civilization's genius wasn't just about its size. It was literally built right into the foundations of its greatest city, Mohenjo-Daro.
The city itself was just a masterpiece of urban planning. It was laid out on this incredibly precise grid. The main streets ran perfectly north-south, with cross streets intersecting at perfect 90-degree angles. This wasn't something that just grew organically. No, this was meticulous, centralized design on an incredible scale.
Okay, take the Great Bath, for example. It's this massive public pool right at the heart of the city's citadel. To make it completely watertight, they sealed the bricks with a gypsum mortar and a layer of bitumen, which is a natural tar. That's the exact same principle we use for waterproofing with asphalt today, 5,000 years later. But the real marvel, that was underground. Their drainage system was absolutely revolutionary. It connected to basically every house, carrying wastewater out of the city. The channels even had manholes for cleaning and were covered with limestone blocks, which helped absorb odors. I mean, come on, that's a sanitation system more advanced than many parts of the world have even today. And to make sure everyone had clean water, the city was just dotted with wells. And get this, in just the 10% of the site that's been excavated, archaeologists have found over 700 of them. This wasn't just a city, it was like a public utility, designed for the well-being of all its citizens. So the engineering was brilliant, okay? But who were the people who actually lived in this incredible city? And were they totally isolated, or were they connected to the wider world?
Well, excavations have unearthed a total treasure trove of artifacts that really paint a picture of daily life. We're talking polished bronze mirrors, beautifully painted pottery, intricate beaded jewelry, even children's toys. And crucially, archaeologists found sets of standardized cubical weights, a clear sign of a highly organized system of trade. Two of the most famous sculptures give us this tantalizing, if, well, mysterious glimpse into their society.
You've got the priest king with his serene expression and patterned robe, and then the dancing girl, a small bronze statue that is just brimming with confidence. A priest? A king? An entertainer? We simply don't know. And their innovation wasn't just in architecture. They were among the world's very first people to cultivate cotton and weave it into textiles, a technological leap that would eventually change the entire world. And they did not keep these innovations to themselves. This quote, it's from a 4,000-year-old clay tablet, and it belongs to the Mesopotamian king Sargon of Akkad, from what's now modern-day Iraq. He boasts of trade with a distant land called Meluha. Well, archaeologists are now certain that Meluha was the Mesopotamian name for the Indus Valley.
The Mesopotamian records even list what they were importing from Meluha. And it wasn't just textiles. They were after high-quality timber, precious carnelian stones for jewelry, and exotic ivory. The people of Mohenjo-Daro were major players in the world's very first global trade network.
So, all of this brings us back to our final central mystery. A civilization this successful, this wealthy, this advanced, where did they all go? Why on earth did they abandon their perfect city? The thing is, experts don't have a single definitive answer. The leading theories, though, they point to a combination of devastating factors. We're talking possibilities like catastrophic floods, the Indus River changing its course and drying up, or maybe they just exhausted all their natural resources from centuries of firing bricks.
But there's a crucial piece of evidence, or rather, a lack of it. There is no sign of a single violent end. Across the entire massive site, only about 37 skeletons have been found that might suggest a violent death. This wasn't some sudden apocalypse. It seems the city wasn't destroyed, but was slowly abandoned as life there just became unsustainable.
But in a way, their culture never truly died. It just transformed and kind of dissolved into the cultures that followed. You can still see its legacy living on today in the traditional Ojrak textile patterns of the Sind region, in local pottery designs, and even in the shape of farming tools still used in the area.
But ultimately, the full story of this incredible civilization remains underground. With a staggering 90% of Mohenjo-Daro still buried beneath the earth, you just have to wonder, what other secrets about their language, their beliefs, their rulers, and their final disappearance are still down there, just waiting for a new generation of explorers to uncover?